do not watch Odia films. Okay, so this is an Odia film. Do not watch Odia films. Odia people don't make good films. And then it had its international premiere at the Moscow International Film Festival.
Right.
So when we had traveled to Moscow, the festival director, Mr. Kirill, I mean, an amazing person, amazing reader of cinema. So he was interviewing Amartya in one of his shows as part of the festival. And in that show, he asked him, like, what are you, I mean, out of the other questions he asked him, what is your next film? And he said, I'm making an Odia film. The next one is an Odia film, and it was Adieu Godard, which was in the process of we are starting. We're going to start.
Right.
And then Mr. Kirill asked, Odia, what's that language? He said it's one of the 6 classical languages of India.
Right.
Then he said, but I have never heard about it. I have heard Marathi, Bengali, Malayali, Punjabi. These are the different kinds of languages that I have heard from India. I have never heard about Odia.
Right.
So that was like another thought, like why Odia should be again as a language, as one of the 6 classical languages we left out. People have heard about many of the South Indian languages or other Indian languages, so why not Odia as well?
Namaskar, Adab, Namaste, and welcome to a new episode of Leisurely Batein. My guest today is the very talented Swastik Choudhury. Swastik, how are you doing?
Hello, thank you. And thank you, Shubhadeep, for having me here. I'm doing good. It's early morning. So, yeah, a little warm-up is required.
It's such a pleasure to have you on the show. I've always followed your work, so बड़ा अच्छा लगता था आपका काम देख के. And the first question I wanted to always ask you, you have a very demanding career, alternate career in IT.
Right.
So how do you balance this? The filmmaking, the actor, that's something which intrigues me.
What I feel is that if you are really committed and passionate to something, balancing act is somewhere you can't plan how to balance it. It is basically about prioritizing. So when you are committed and passionate about things, then you will be able to, I believe, prioritize at any given circumstances based on which one needs your attention more.
Right.
So probably that's how it has been going. I haven't given a lot of thought around how whether I'm getting stressed out, I should balance it out more and all. So I've just tried to see if I can just do the right prioritizations and address whatever is the need of the hour. That's more like that.
Right. So how did this all start? You've been studying. You studied engineering, and then this whole thing of acting and then producing. How does this whole thought and then the journey start?
After engineering, I was actually posted in Chennai, and I was doing my happy corporate job there. And so where we were actually staying, so from there, if we have to catch a film, we were staying in very outskirts of Chennai.
Right.
And if you have to catch the film at the city center or something, it used to be a huge program. You have to start very early at around 7 or so, get up, have your food and all the stuff, and be at the stop by, say, at a particular time. That will take another 1.5 hours to the city center, then make a queue and then get the tickets, and then you will be able to watch a film in the matinee show.
Right.
So so I used to be very picky about it's not like every weekend if my friends and all will be going almost like every weekend, then I will not be because of this huge preparation that one has to do. I used to feel that the film has to be somewhat little worthwhile to go.
Right.
So even if on those occasions, which are not many, but in those occasions, whenever I used to go, one thing that I started noticing is that when we were in the queue of generally watching this Hindi films, I won't say generally, it's always because my exposure, my childhood has mostly been exposed to the Hindi cinema largely.
And you grew up in
Rourkela.
Rourkela.
Rourkela, yeah, Rourkela, Odisha. I have been born and brought up in Rourkela,
Okay.
Odisha. Yeah. So I used to watch or observe that in the queue for this, for the box office queue for taking the tickets.
Right.
So of the Hindi films, mostly will be the non-Tamilians, and the Tamilians will be mostly in the queue of their like Tamil films only.
Right, right.
So after this realization of after few outings like that, I asked myself, like, when was the last time I had watched an Odia film, language of my own, my own mother tongue.
Right.
And I have watched it probably in TV of certain select films only, but it has never been like I have gone to a theater to watch it. I have not. Then I also realized that it has not been a norm around my surrounding, be it my friends or be it in the family. People were not used to go and watch an Odia film, and that got me to think further, like why it has happened, and it has actually happened. I mean, it's a fact. Which many of us know, that at some point of time, probably mid 90s or somewhat or so, lot of this copy paste things happened in the Odia industry, and
like in other regional industries, even in the
yes,
Bengal film industry.
But somewhere this copy paste were also of bad taste, of or I'll say bad for first or second copies. If I have to put it in that way. And innovation somewhere was missing out, creativity was somewhere missing out, and this particular trend started, like, you know, overtaking all sorts of filmmaking. There were filmmakers who were still trying to make a mark, still trying to make an attempt to do things differently, but as usual, I mean, the following and the markets and everything, you know, overshadowed such films, and somewhere it became largely unheard of. Like if there was any better cinema that was coming out,
right?
And that is when the kind of audience which went to the theaters and the kind of audience who'd like to go to the theater, there were a lot of, you know, gap between them. I mean, lot of I'm not trying to put up any or belittling anybody, but it is mostly the people who wanted to watch a good film. Probably they refrained from going out to the cinemas for at least Odia film. So it got a label, who is going to watch an Odia film, even with the people who are from Odisha. So that is when I thought, like, if ever I get a chance or an opportunity to go back to Odisha, maybe I'll explore this.
Right.
And then in around 2009 or 10, I came back to Odisha, and that is when I met Amartya. In our corporate, we started a film club.
Right.
And
interesting.
We started a film club, and then I mean, there were other people who were the initiators of this film club.
Right.
And we started making some films around that, and once we thought one film is decently made, we thought, why not let's put it on YouTube, and that is when we actually found that I mean, we actually checked with our HR that we want to put this on YouTube, and HR say that, see, this is a film that you've made out of the film club, and hence this is the corporate's property. You can't put it on YouTube like that. So then me and Amartya actually thought, like, let's do it completely out of this whole setup.
Outside the corporate.
So we didn't have those jargons at that time, like independent film and all those kind of stuff. But that is where the initial seeds of doing or going independent started.
Right. But I mean, the life from there, you know, to the journey of the serious indie filmmaking. I mean, the question I have first for you, and then I'll come to, you know, few more questions that I have in my mind. What is your view of cinema? Is it art or economics?
Yeah, this is something I generally get this question. Yeah. Um,
Because it's an expensive process,
yes,
right? I mean,
yes.
unlike other forms of art.
See, I have two, three thoughts or two, 3 points around it. One is we talk about ROI, right? Return on investment. So there are several ways of looking at it. If ROI is the finance part, then I'm not saying finance is not important. It's definitely important. It keeps it helps you keeps the ball rolling.
Right.
But if I have to talk about just ROI, so for me there were many other factors which I considered as part of the ROI.
Right.
One of them was taking Odia cinema to places where people will start recognizing, okay, Odia cinema it is. Just like how people respect or look up to a Bengali film or a Malayali film. I mean, it may be a bad film or it may be a not so up to the mark film, but still they have that kind of branding is there, and there is a perception. There is a perception around it.
Right word.
And then I'll say a Marathi film in recent times, there is a perception. Okay, these will be good films.
Right.
Similarly, there has been a perception around Odia cinema, and I'll give you a couple of examples. So Amartya, like when we had our debut film, Capital I, it was participating in one of the film festivals at the India Habitat Center.
Right.
And Amartya was one of the invited delegates, so he was there. And the previous night, it was our debut film, so there are butterflies, and all the films posters that were selected for that festival, it was all put out. The huge posters were put out, and the previous Amartya had landed the previous night. When the festival was about to start, he had landed in the previous evening. And he was just going through all the posters, what it looked like and all that. And then he stopped in front of this, our film's poster, Capital I, probably reflecting something, I don't know. But
it's a very emotional moment, you know, the whole...
Perhaps. But at the same point of time, one security person just walked down and said that, so have you come for the film festival? And he said yes. And he didn't further inquire whether he's a delegate or just going to be a participant or
invitee
who has just come to watch films and all. So he immediately questioned, so because he was standing in front of this film, Capital I, he just said, do not watch Odia films. Okay, so this is an Odia film, do not watch Odia films. Odia people don't make good films. Watch some other films. So that was also a trigger point. So well, I wanted to make Odia films. I'm coming back a little bit to your previous question. Yeah, Amartya being a Bengali, born and brought up in Kolkata, he was working in Bhubaneswar with me. So when we started to make our first feature film, again that question that came probably to his mind, the language, the medium, because cinema is universal, but we need a language to communicate. For the medium has to be there. And that is when Amartya said, I have been living here for quite some time now, and if I have to make a film here, it has to be an Odia film, unless the script or something else demands otherwise. But yeah, it's kind of a giving back to the place, to the state where I have been living and have been loving the place and all that. So from there on, that's the reason why we started with this thing, this Odia film, to make this Odia film. And yeah, Capital was the first. And coming back to this, what I was saying earlier. So that is what was
our big trigger point as a motivation to.
Yeah, that is when we thought, no, then we need to make more such films that will
take
travel.
Responsibility of
exactly,
you know, changing the perception, or like, you know, really reflecting the true value of the industry.
Exactly. And then what happened is when we then coming back cut to a few years later. So we had made Runanu Banda. Runanu Banda is a Bengali film, and that was our third feature. And the script and the entire thing was such that it has to be based. It has to be a Bengali film based out of Kolkata only. There was one reason why Amartya was saying is that a lot is changing rapidly in Kolkata, and I want to document it. So the film documents a lot of important visuals of Kolkata along with whatever the film is.
Right.
So so during this filming process, so when we had made this film, the film actually premiered here in KIFF at the time as well, 2018. And then it had its international premiere at the Moscow International Film Festival.
Right.
So when we had traveled to Moscow, the festival director, Mr. Kirill, I mean, an amazing person, amazing reader of cinema. So he was interviewing Amartya in one of his shows as part of the festival. And in that show, he asked him, like, what are you, I mean, out of the other questions he asked him, what is your next film? And he said, I'm making an Odia film. The next one is an Odia film, and it was Adu Godard, which was in the process of we're going to start.
Right.
And then Mr. Kirill asked, Odia, what's that language? He said it's one of the 6 classical languages of India.
Right.
Then he said, but I have never heard about it. I have heard Marathi, Bengali, Malayali, Punjabi. These are the different kinds of languages that I've heard from India. I've never heard about Odia.
Right.
So that was like another thought, like why Odia should be again as a language, as one of the 6 classical languages be left out. People have heard about many of the South Indian languages or other Indian languages, so why not Odia as well? And it was probably you can say with the grace of something maybe once we had made this film. Adu Godard, it actually world premiered at Moscow.
Wow.
And again, when we spoke to Mr. Kirill, I mean, it's like we were telling him, so now you would be knowing that there's an Odia film as well. So he is a great historian, and he was a great, I mean, he's no more. That's a really sad thing. But Mr. Kirill is a great historian and a great reader of cinema, has been a long time the festival director of Moscow International Film Festival till his passing away.
Right.
And it was fantastic to bring that film into Moscow in front of him. So that is where these are the different ROIs I see. And after a few years of our films traveling and all, we also saw so many other filmmakers getting interested to actually explore the festival arena. And once you do that, you automatically try to make more technically and conceptually sound films.
Right.
So somewhere, yes, things have started also changing. So that also, I mean, the market or the kind of cinema that is being made, that is also started to change. So these are the different kinds of ROI that I look at. And for me, any art form, if it has to be an art form, if I have to call, be it any classical dance or music or painting, anything like that, it doesn't survive without patronage. And even Tansen might not have been a Tansen had Akbar been not there.
Correct.
So it has been an age-old tradition now to having patronage. And if the film, there is all attempt we make to give the film a chance to do well economically as well, and some of our films have done that. So, and if it does, nothing like it.
Right.
So it's always welcome. But since I'm continuing in a job, the reason of doing that is somewhere not to be bogged down with the idea that I have to by hook or crook make my film work economically. We give, I mean, while making a film, this pressure should not be there. It has to be, one has to be a little more, have that freedom.
I mean, the true sense of being an independent,
exactly.
a producer or a filmmaker. Correct.
There should be no pressure at all, and you should be doing it out of joy, out of sheer passion. So that has been my take so far.
Right. And very well explained and answered. And there are facts that also resonate, with me, and probably a lot of independent filmmakers, producers who are tuned in and will watch this episode would find a lot of inspiration from what you have achieved, what you and Amartya together have achieved. And I think that is extremely important, that feeling, that which first and foremost, it starts from what makes you happy. And then what happens is a consequence.
Right.
And we try to give an explanation to it. But I think my experience of life, having lived a few more years than you, has been anything that you start. You don't
Yeah.
start for any other reason. Like, I mean, that whole film club journey
Yeah,
that
yeah,
you were saying,
correct.
it had no other ramifications, that we
Yeah.
often do, from a perspective of fulfilling KPIs.
Right.
The only KPIs there is the happiness quotient.
Correct.
And what you make out of it and the meaning that you further start giving it is the ramification of that happiness
Right.
intent that started.
There's a lot of innocence with which you start.
Right, and holding into that innocence
yes,
is, I think,
that's
the most
key.
challenging.
Correct.
And I think that reflects on the work that you do. And I was very, when I first saw Adu Godad, when I met Amartya in IFFI 2023, and we were, I was very fascinated with, interacting with him and having his conversation. And then I heard of Adu Godad, but I didn't know where to watch it, right? So then I asked him, where to watch it, and he mentioned about this Odia OTT
platform.
And I went back to the hotel and next. And I went to the hotel, and that night I subscribed and watched it, and I was so amazed in terms of the construct of the film. It's well done in making a taboo topic, coming up in a very simplistic yet a very digestible, and the humor, the satire behind it is extremely difficult to write. So I told him, I felt very jealous when I saw the film that why I can't write like that. So, but well done to make something like that, because it's not easy, right?
Yes.
But how do you guys fund the project? I mean, is it a lot of personal money, friends and families?
So basically, I mean, I would like to thank Amartya for being what he is. I mean, he is a so for me, he has been a teacher, though younger by me, younger of 2 years to me. But he has been a great teacher, a person of great sense of art and cinema. And just because this kind of indie films could be made, he took up such so many different. He started wearing so many different hats. Right. So of course he is a writer, director, screenplay, dialogue writer, or the whatever.
And a cinematographer as well.
Yeah, cinematography is something. There are two things to it. One, he probably felt that, I mean, he is an amazing photographer, no doubt about it. But he also felt that probably what I want to convey on the frames, and if I have somebody, it will be lost in translation if I have to explain.
Right.
One part. Second part, perhaps because we are doing this in indie way with the smallest of budgets and all. So it's better that he wears that cap so that can be managed. Secondly, editing. Editing is something that he probably, I mean, no one should generally does as a filmmaker after wearing so many hats. But he also took over that editing part, color grading. So from his home setup only, we started with all our films.
Right.
And yeah, there is a lot of sweat money, you can say.
Right.
As a producer, and till date also, I never want to have any kind of a hierarchy in our sets, in our place where we are shooting. I have been holding lights at some points of time also if I am not acting. And I am holding lights. I have been running around to bring refreshments and other stuff. And similarly, the other people in the cast and crew also, they double up as something or the other. I mean, that's how...
a very community-based
yeah, and that's how, if you look at any startup also, in a startup, even the CEO might be bringing the coffee to one of the employees as well. So it's all very fine, and it's all very...
I mean, those hierarchies are more, I would say, I don't know, I mean, lack of a better thing, I would say it's more of a very Indian construct, because you would not see that very much in, overseas or international things. I mean,
correct.
And I say this because I've lived most of my working life overseas, and I've never felt that. But when I came back this time in 2020, and when I got back in, I mean, I'm not a corporate person. I mean, I'm into startups, and but I could see, the customer community. There is an expected hierarchy and a behavior that you need to have. But you know, what you said just now, explained, you know, the process,
Yes.
that brings in a lot of positive energy.
Yes.
And I think that makes the difference, and you can see that in every project. I I
Right.
saw Lahari in a couple of days back, and I was amazed, you know, with first and foremost the locales, you know,
Yes.
that you guys chose, and I think it makes a very big statement towards projecting the uncommon, you know, landscapes of our country,
Yes.
and
yes.
thus the culture, and obviously, you know, it has a much more deep-rooted message and in a very humorous manner. But I think what makes a lot of attraction to a content is the placement of the content.
Yes.
So how did you come out with those locations and, you know, the script? Did the script come first, or the location came first?
So what happens is that when we are not shooting, or a film is probably in the process of traveling and something new we haven't yet started. So weekends, me and Amartya at times, and also Priyanka. So we have tried to. We look up. I mean, if he gets to know, okay, there is a place or some beautiful location somewhere, or if I get to know, I tell him, he tells me, and shall we go in this weekend just to explore? So a 40 kilometer radius or a 60-kilometer radius like that in the surrounding of Bhubaneswar.
Right.
So we keep traveling, keep looking at different places and all. So there are so many of these places. Like before we shot, we might have visited it like a year back or 6 months back,
Right.
8 months back, like that.
And how
So-
do you remember that? Do you keep a documentation or like some asset
I
library?
mean,
or-
it's these are such different locales and different unique locations, so you remember that. I mean,
Right.
it's not like in one area or one location you have like 5 different spots.
Right.
Yeah, then it gets a little difficult. But yeah,
Right.
so we know there is a say a stone cutting quarry at an XYZ location.
Right,
We
right.
know that there is a dam. From where you can actually walk around, and that can be a beautiful location. So that's in, say, Dhenkanal. So stuff like that.
Correct.
So that's how you remember, and then so that is where we try to place these locations when as per the script.
Right.
So to answer in short, definitely the script comes first, and then you try to plot in which are the locations that is going to give you the maximum,
Projection for that.
projection, or you can say will be the
Placement,
optimum
The best.
location for that particular sequence or scenarios like that. Yeah.
No, because I mean, when I saw Lahari, one of the things that I felt was that the location was a character by itself,
Yeah.
and that really uplifted the story. You know, I still can't forget that shot when the young boy is running. It's a wide shot into the ocean. Phenomenal, you know, location and fantastic photography.
So that's that's something. I mean, credit goes to Amartya. Credit goes to the drone operator. The Rudra, who was assisting Amartya as well, and he was operating the drone as well.
You're right.
And most of these visuals, like one of the very beautiful feedback that I got from some of the people who watched the film here, they say that we have seen drone shots being used aplenty across many films these days and all.
Right.
But the most appropriate use of drone we have seen in this film, and that again thanks to Amartya being the cinematographer here, he has used the drone more to drive home the perspectives or drive home the situations that is there.
Correct.
And the location, that's why becomes a character in itself, and that was somewhere the objective. If it is so, then we have definitely I can say that probably one of the objectives is fulfilled, because
Right.
we wanted the film to be more seen as like you are exploring the beauty of Odisha as well.
Correct.
So-
And that
so-
has been achieved, because I came back and immediately texted Amartya. Send me the location, because I'd love to, take a visit. And then he left a very long voice message and explained me everything.
Yeah.
I mean, that itself, is a very big achievement, and the ROI you guys
Yes.
wanted to achieve. I am actually a proof of that.
Yeah.
No, well done on that. I
Thank
mean,
you.
how's the Oriya film industry doing? I mean, how and how as an independent producer, whatever it is that you put into the project, Sweat Equity or the Heart Capital or whatever.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
How do you see as for an independent producer, is it challenging to distribute your content?
Yeah. Um, it was. I have to see like what is the situation now with Laurie when we think of its theatrical release. But yeah, when Adyu Godard, after traveling to so many festivals, having won 7 international awards, and we knowing that the film has a lot of humor which will actually engage people, we were kind of confident that this will work with the audience as well. But when we approached the distributors, the local distributors out there, so at that time, none of them were showing interest. And basically, the period when Adu Godard got released theatrically, in that same period, I mean, it is again the distributors were saying people just want a label of theatrical release, and most Odia films release on Friday and they are taken off by Sunday.
Okay.
So why do you want to waste your money? Why don't you? I mean, no one is going to watch these Odia films and all. I mean, this is what the distributors were telling me, and they're saying that you look like a gentleman. That's why we are sharing these things with you. So you should not waste your money. Rather go and make another film and all that.
Right.
I mean, that was really sad that, I mean, they didn't even want to watch the film to give the film a chance. I mean, before making this decision, but many of them didn't agree. So that is when, again, there were a couple of people to be thanked for that. One is Anu Choudhury, who is a very popular actress from the Odia industry. She came on board to present the film. She supported the film to be released. And then again, Mr. Shiladitya Bora from Platoon Films, when I connected with him, he told me, you don't have to tell me about the cinema. We have been following its festival journey. And he was saying, okay, we can release the film. The only thing was that when we are coming through this process, we will not be able to tap the single screens. Multiplexes, yes, but the single screens we can't. So I still have this sorrow in my heart that I couldn't bring Adu Godard to the single screens that is there in Odisha.
And I feel that this is a film which the single screen audience, especially like the rural audience, would have really loved and enjoyed, because they would have related. And I think that is very key for independent films to succeed. That label or the, what should I say, the assumptions that we make sometimes in our software estimations.
Right.
When it comes to real life, it doesn't work all the time.
Correct.
I would rather say it never works.
Yeah. And when it released, actually through the multiplexes, very limited screens and all. So then, after a week, when it kept running for a week, I got this messages, texts and all. It's a huge achievement, man. It has been running for a week. So even for a week for an Odia film was a huge thing. Right. And then when it went to the third week, then again some people started saying, okay, oh man, you have made it to the third week.
Right.
And then it ran for the fourth week, and then the big Bollywood films came in.
Right.
Really, really big budgeted films and all. So there was a lot of pressure with the exhibitors and all, and the film went out.
Right.
But it had a given the context. So there was another film after that got released after Adu Godard, and they have been trying to release before that as well. And they had made the announcements, and they had postponed their release for a couple of times. Right. I don't know what could have been the reason, but somewhere I heard that probably they were not happy with the number of screens that they were getting. It's very limited screens that they were getting because the film didn't have that typical, that particular Odia film didn't have the typical Nach Gana and all those kind of stuff and all. It was a decent film. Right. But after this thing happened with Adu Godard, this 4 weeks of crazy response from the audience, because it's not the media or anybody. I mean, they thankful they covered. I'm not saying, but it's not the regular media or the TV or the
Right.
print that they were talking and talking and all. It was the people who were kept on talking on social media about this film. Some people had started also
Right.
spreading a little weird thing that this is a porn film, that film,
Right,
and all
right,
that.
right.
There will be always some negative
Right.
people who will be spreading negative thoughts.
Right.
But then there were to counter that there were audience who were saying, I had taken my 60-year-old mom to the film and
Right.
she enjoyed it. So these were the kind of posts and comments that we were getting. So looking at that, so this particular Odia film, which was they had postponed their release
Right.
to a couple of times. They released in one of the most maximum screens of that. In that context, I mean, in those days,
Right,
like
right.
33 plus or so screens across Odisha, it got the release.
Right,
The
right.
distributors warmed up to the idea of, bringing in some nuanced Odia cinema also out
Right.
there. And then after that, few more films got the same kind of response, at least from the distributors. So yeah, distribution was not easy at that time. Again, this is another ROI, I would say. We had to push the envelope. We had to put our foot inside and say that no, we have to get it done. And it was a marathon process to have the film released. All the people of the film's cast and crew, they had all come together. We were trying to talk to different kind of universities, colleges, media schools, that this is a film, this has traveled so well, why don't you come and watch, why don't you send your students? So we did a lot of these things, and it was a very
A lot of hustle.
a lot of hustle to make the film reach, because we didn't have that much of capital to do a full-fledged PR and all that.
Yeah.
So thankfully the film worked in that sense, and and then it landed up in the OTT platform Our Next, and thanks to them again.
And
the
now
film
it
is still
also, I saw
available.
that it's been dubbed in Bengali and
Yes.
version also, so which also gives a wider reach in terms of the
Yeah.
content, because it's a lot of humor. The language also is important for a lot of people to understand. But I saw it in the Odia with subtitles, and I really thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yes.
And, So, I mean, how do you choose your subjects? I mean, when you're trying to produce something.
Amartya already has.
I mean, do you do a little bit of a product market fit, or it's something that this is what you want to make and let's make it?
So Amartya already has around probably around 7 to 8 scripts already written, and around some 15 or 20 scripts already in his mind. So he's like that. He keeps discussing. We keep connecting, discussing, talking about cinema every now and then. And whenever he has some thought, he has some ideas, we speak about it. So basically, not in the sense that we look at whether this particular, the product and the placement of it, the timing of it and all that. Not in that sense, but yeah, a little bit of thought goes in, in terms of the feasibility part. So at this particular juncture or at this particular time, which particular thing is more feasible or doable, that is how we take a look at it. And the feasibility can be of many things. For example, if we are for a particular script, we need a certain kind of an person or an actor, and we are not able to find that out. Probably we'll wait for that, because we may not. So being in a corporate and working in this, so Monday, this weekdays and all, so we are also tied up with the corporate work, and we do not have that luxury of the typically, having those regular meetups and going to connecting with a lot of people. So we only have those weekends, where at max we can meet, or sometimes late evening or something. So we feel that probably we have not arrived, or we have not yet met a certain character, a certain person who can probably be part of this particular script or something. So then we wait, or sometimes the other kind of feasibilities, the logistics and all might not be permitting at a particular point of time.
Right.
So these are the things that we take a look at it before thinking of deciding on, okay, let's make a film on this particular script.
All right. Fantastic. So, almost towards the end, I wanted to ask you one question: is how do you define happiness? I mean, more from a perspective that do what you're doing makes a lot of sacrifice, from probably other things that you also want to do, but in the context of that, what is your definition of happiness? And
yeah, so so when people also, I mean, this is a lovely question actually, Shobhita, because people ask about the struggles, and then this happiness is something that someone has asked for the very first time. But I'll try to give a little bit of answer to both, because it is related somewhere. So when people ask, it must have been a struggle, it must all the stuff. So yes, struggle is such a tough word actually. Struggle is when people go without any routines and they try to explore a medium. There are many actors, there are many filmmakers who have struggled for years to get a break, to actually be seen, be heard of.
right.
And they have had many financials and other kind of struggles.
Right.
For me, yeah, there is a comfort out there, because I have a job, and probably it's not financial. It's not that difficult to have food on my table and all that. So yeah, those kind of struggles are not there. But the struggles have been in many different ways of of doing both the work, of probably cutting out on other kind of entertainment, or any kind of maybe not being socially available for home, for the family at particular points of time. These are the little sacrifices out there. And there has been, when you begin with all these things and you are a first time filmmaker, first generation filmmaker, not first time. So questions are asked. But again, thanks to my wife Sagarika and a very understanding kid, Swarika. So some of these things are gets balanced out, even if there are others who may or may not understand. So they have tried to fill me in my absence at the time. And also, Amartya has been so much aware of when I can be available, how it has to be done, and he has been such a wonderful partner in the cinema world. So that is something that has made this journey so far a little bearable, comfortable, and all. And when I talk about this happiness thing, the other day I was telling Amartya that this is actually a gratitude for you. That when I came to KIFF this time, and this is probably our third time in KIFF, but the first one was way back in 2018. The recent one was in 2022 when Edu Godard was here and we had won that. So I am coming here to KIFF for the first time, and to Kolkata without Amartya. So Amartya used to be always there, and I had this, that I have to manage meeting the people and really represent the film along with my producer and the casting crew as much as possible to ensure that his absence is not that much felt.
Right.
So when I came here, the selection committee people, the KIFF people and all, they so much warmly addressed me, and they all talked to me. Oh, you are the Jatin from Edu Godard, and they remembered Edu Godard so well. And one of the KIFF selection committee members, he narrated the entire, he was introducing me to another person, and then he asked about, have you seen the film? And then he narrated the entire Edu Godard film to him, even after 3 years, and after he would have watched so many films in all these years.
Right.
So these are the things that is what is so satisfying and makes me feel happy. It's so content and warm. It makes you so warm from inside. People recognize you. People recognize you for the good work that you have done.
Correct.
And they appreciate you for that. And so yeah, somewhere it actually. And when the last time Edu Godard won, and that was one of the very first wins in a very major festival for us, and I was somewhere tearing up inside, because because that was something where a lot of people who have been questioning, who have been saying a lot of things. So that was a kind of affirmation that yes, so whatever path we have been going on, that was not that was not something going in waste. So so those are the things that's what is so satisfying, and it's happy, give some happiness to that, and how people get inspired from these films, and what they go ahead and do, and when they come back and say that okay, this film inspired, that film inspired. So that is where you feel okay, there's something you have done.
Phenomenal, fantastic, Swastik. Keep inspiring people, and and keep giving us more content.
Sure.
Thank you so much for being on the show. It was lovely having this conversation with you, and I really personally, I really took away a lot of good things. Very inspirational.
Thank you.
And I look forward to meeting you soon. And,
sure.
And good luck.
Thank you so much. And I wish all the beautiful things that you have started doing, and this particular podcast and all reaches far and wide, because these conversations are something very rare that happens. Somebody who wants to pick the other person's other sides, not normally what is actually is available publicly. So these are some of the things that actually you feel also good talking about. Someone wants to listen. So it's a beautiful thing, and I wish you all the best, Shubhadip, in all the things that you are going to do.
Thank you so much.